Hi, everyone. A little belatedly, but welcome to another episode of 10 Words or Less, in which I ask brief questions of interesting people and ask for brief answers in return. Today's guest has been a well-respected voice on business, sustainability, and innovation for more than 25 years. The Associated Press has called him the guru of green business practices. He's done a lot to get there, but one notable achievement is that he's the founder of greenbiz.com, which I've been reading for since 2007. Now, remember, everyone listening, live or later, 10 words is an ethic, not a limit. So to those of you not participating, please no counting. And if you think it's so easy, let's see you do it, especially on the fly. Okay, Joel, let's start with spelling your first and last name, please.
Sure, Joel Makower, Joel Makower.
Thank you. Born, when, and where? Please be as specific as you're willing to.
I was born in Oakland, California, where I am now sitting on February 19th, 1952.
Was there anything unusual about the circumstances? Premature, Elvis in the room, anything like that?
No, just kind of normal.
Okay. Again, without meaning to pry, as much as you're willing to reveal, what is your family circumstance?
My family circumstance is I am married to Randy, so R-E-N-D-Y, Rosenberg, for 26 plus years, and we have two lovely dogs.
I'm sorry, I just want to be sure. You said dogs, not daughters, right?
Dogs, yes. No daughters or sons.
Okay. Tell me a formative event from your early life.
A formative event from my early life. You know, gosh, I'd be hard pressed to have just one. I think it would have to be growing up during the Vietnam War.
Okay, tell me someone who was a strong influence to you outside your family.
I don't have anyone who was a direct mentor. I have people who I admired at the time in the context in which I was growing up, certainly professionally. I was coming of age professionally in journalism school during the time of Watergate. So Woodward, Bernstein, and all the others were of influence to me in terms of journalism as a way to speak truth to power. I was also at the same time influenced by Ralph Nader, the original consumer advocate Ralph Nader, not the election spoiler Ralph Nader, who was about taking on corporations on behalf of consumers, and that influenced me greatly.
As a teen, what did you think you'd be doing today?
As a teen?
Yeah.
Well, I never really had a vision of what I wanted to be if I grew up. And I always kind of was into doing my own thing. So perhaps it's no surprise that I've been self-employed for almost 40 years.
Okay. Is there a historical figure whom you hold dear?
I admired Martin Luther King well before he was assassinated and became the hero martyr that he became. I grew up during the Civil Rights era, and he was somebody. Even at 13, I made him the subject of my bar mitzvah speech. 1965. So I guess that says something.
I wish I had been so precocious. Mine was boring. I don't know what I said, but that says it all. What came first to you, green or biz?
Probably biz. I mean, I started off my career as a consumer reporter, and I quickly realized that in order to understand consumer issues, you had to understand business. But if you look at the trajectory of my career, it's always been at the confluence of business, technology, and society. Three things that fascinate me deeply.
What was your first green impulse?
Well, I was a senior in high school during the first Earth Day, 1970. So that may or may not have been my first green influence or impulse. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area in a family at a time that was already very environmentally conscious. My parents were Sierra Club members dating back, I guess, to the 50s. So I kind of knew about this stuff even before it became popular.
What are your feelings about the word green?
It is what it is. It's not particularly helpful. It's politicized in some ways. It really describes only the environmental aspects of sustainability, which of course are much broader, including people and economics. And the people part of that is just, I think, undervalued and underappreciated, at least in the sustainability movement. So, you know, it's a word we're stuck with, for better or for worse, just like sustainability, which is a word we're stuck with, for better or for worse.
How do you spend your days?
Oh, no 2 days are alike. You know, I'm the co-founder of a company. We've got 16, I think, employees. I have two partners. They kind of run it, let me be me, which means I spend a lot of time talking to people, reading things, meeting with great people, and once in a while I actually get to write.
What do you do when you're not working?
I love to walk and hike up in the Oakland Hills. Like I said, I've got two dogs, sort of rambunctious, and we love to go out and run around. I also have played piano for pretty much all of my life, jazz and blues, and I sing.
Inside or outside? Pick one.
You mean life?
I should have said at the beginning, Chris, you're a reporter, so you know this already. You can skip any question you don't like, but I don't want to define it anymore. Inside or outside, however it strikes you, or not at all.
It would have to be outside. I mean, I love taking meetings on trails. One of the great things about living in the San Francisco Bay Area is that you get to do that much of the year. You get to do a lot of walk and talks, as I call them. Get together with people who you may or may not know and take a long walk and have a great conversation. So I'm definitely an outdoors kind of guy.
Hot or cold?
I like it in the middle. That's, again, another great benefit of being here. I lived in Washington, D.C. for 24 years, which is neither too hot nor too cold, but even at those relative extremes, it was more than I cared for. I love the Bay Area because it's right in the middle.
Home turf or wanderlust?
It's, you know, a great mix of both. I spend a lot of time on the road. I love to travel. I don't, you know, people ask me, do you love to travel? I said, well, you know, nobody really loves getting in and out of airplanes and security lines, but you got to love what you do when you get there, and I generally do.
So,
but I love being at home. I love a great home, great family, live in a great part of the world, and it's always great to come back.
Okay. Now, you've already answered this. Maybe you have more to say, or maybe not. Sustainability. Sorry about that. Sustainability, personal or global?
Oh, I mean, it's global by definition. But, you know, those of us in the movement often forget about our own personal sustainability. We work too hard. We travel sometimes too much. We tend to get absorbed and passionate and in our work, and sometimes we forget about taking care of ourselves. So they're both important.
Okay, tell me something that sustains you.
The people I get to know and work with and play with, and by the way, there's often blurred lines between those two. Um, I get to I get to work with people I love, and I get to love the people I work with, and that's what sustains me. I mean, this topic that that I found my way to, or found its way to me, is a topic that just is so connected to who I am and how and my belief system and what I love doing, and the variety of things that it encompasses. It's not about one thing. It's kind of about everything. But what sustains me is that I get to work with amazing people and love so many of them.
Great. Outside of Green Biz, what's your favorite social medium?
Talking to people and being in person, person to person. I can, I can tweet, I can do all that stuff, but I just like being out there. I'm pretty social.
Speaking of Twitter, could you identify a couple of voices that you think are not appropriately valued on Twitter or some other social media?
Well, I follow a lot of the corporate sustainability people because they're kind of my heroes. I kind of admire so many of them in terms of how much and what they're able to do with so few resources and so undervalue the undervalued nature of them and their companies. And so there's a bunch of them. We rank them every year on Green Biz. People like Dave Stangus from Campbell's Soup is one that comes to mind. But there's a bunch of others. I just think that it's fascinating to hear from them and their everyday struggles and trials and victories.
I became familiar with Dave because of your ranking in the sustainability Twitterati this year. But I already follow him, so could you give me another one? Maybe someone that entirely subjective, because I follow him, but someone else.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of who else is really good out there. I'm going blank right now. I mean, I really think if you go to Twitterati and Green Biz that we rank every year or so, you'll find 50 or 60 or 70 good people. Nobody for some reason besides Dave is just popping to mind.
No worries. Let's move on. Someone who deserves more attention, and it's kind of the same story, but removing the context of Twitter, please.
In general, in life.
Yeah, someone who's doing great things or has great ideas and doesn't have a commensurate amount of people's attention.
There are some great leaders out there, young, up-and-coming leaders. I love the work that Melinda Cramer is doing at Women's Earth Alliance, which is this fabulous group that she co-founded and is just one of the smartest, most inspirational people that I know in terms of the work she's doing. They're just doing miraculous work around the world, bringing women at the village level and helping them meet other women who are, as they describe it, in the middle of a revolution that none of them even sees, and growing their capacities and changing communities, changing lives. So Melinda Cramer would be right up there at the top of my list.
Thank you. Now there's someone I don't know, and I'm going to find out about her. So thank you for shining your light on her.
Great. Happy to do that.
Yeah, you do. And of course, just pointed out, you definitely earned the right to do it too. A biomimicry example you particularly admire?
They're all kind of fun. I know that Sprint is working on, if they haven't, maybe already put out a cell phone case that mimics the shark skin, and in the process reduces, if not eliminates, the bacteria that cell phones naturally acquire just by being on and around us. That's something that we can all relate to. Cell phones as you can imagine, pick up a lot of stuff. And here's a critter, in this case a shark, whose skin naturally adapts to that and eliminates a lot of that. And now there's a phone.
That's there are so many examples of them. In speeches I give, I use the mimicking of shark skin for competitive swimmers because of the overlapping diamond patterns. I didn't know there was another one for shark skin. I love that. Thank you very much. And I'll look it up and I'll link to it. I'll come back to when I'm going to do that in a minute.
I think we did a story on that on Green Biz.
Tell me something that people do not understand.
That's most things. I mean, I'm fascinated with the complexity of making change in a big company with an eye towards sustainability. The people in sustainability in big companies tend to be armies of 1 or 3 or 6 people inside multi-billion-dollar global corporations with, and these people have no resources, no headcount, no budgets, and so they work by influence and bridge building and cajoling and influence, not by command and control. And the kinds of change that they are able to affect, while often more incremental than I would like to see, is still, in many cases, something just short of miraculous.
Okay, this will maybe the first time you get asked this question. You will probably, well, anyway, sorry for the preamble. Write your epitaph for me, please.
Wow.
10 words or less. It's got to fit on the stone.
He made a difference, changed lives, and did it with good humor.
Excellent. Good one. I should be so lucky to have that from my own.
As would I.
Well, you've certainly made a good start at that description. Thank you very much for the time you spent with me. I'm sorry for the difficulties at the beginning. It wasn't, whatever else it wasn't Google's fault this time. I restarted my computer and it worked. So it's something on my hardware. I don't know why. There was one thing I wanted to talk about. What I'm going to do is go back to the transcript, fill out my notes, and I'm going to edit it. And then I'm going to, I may combine questions if it makes the interview flow better. I may throw out question and answer pairs, and I may shorten your answers. But before I publish it, I'm going to send it to you so you can approve it to make sure that what gets printed in your name is exactly or acceptable to you as representing your expression. When I do that, please take the 5 minutes or whatever it is to scan it over and make sure it's okay with you, and then I will publish it as well. And in that interview, I'll put in links to anything that I can find that you mentioned. That okay with you?
Of course, happy to do that, Michael. Thanks.
All right. Again, thank you for the time, and I wish you the best for a great 2015 and beyond.
Thank you. Same to you, Michael. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.